More heat.
From Royal Communications Incorporated, good morning and welcome to King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Thursday, August 14, 2025, and I'm Newton Tokpa presenting. Stories we follow in this morning. The U.S. Department of State's 2024 Human Rights Report on Liberia indicates mysterious killings, torture, arbitrary detention, serious restriction of freedom of expression, and media freedom, points out the government officials' occasional harassment of journalists due to political opinion and reporting. Says Judicial Circuit Court of Marshall County orders eviction of CDC from Congo Town headquarters as former President George Weah vows to construct national headquarters for the party calls on all supporters to remain united. Liberia National Police charges and forwards to court 67-year-old church mother Clyde Port for physical and verbal assault of a uniformed police officer. And away from Liberia, French President Emmanuel Macron has acknowledged the violence committed by his country's forces in Cameroon during and after the Central African nation struggled for independence. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has indicated that Gaza ceasefire efforts are now focused on a comprehensive deal to release all the remaining hostages in at once. These plus the news bulletin, our international developments, and our package, but we'll take a very short break. I'll be right back. Thanks for rejoining, and let's now have the news bulletin. The United States Department of State 2024 Human Rights Report on Liberia has presented a troubling indictment ongoing abuses, restrictions, and enforcement gaps. The U.S. Department 2024 report released on August 13 disclosed that there were no significant changes in the human rights situation during the year, despite some government actions to hold perpetrators accountable. Human rights issues indicated in the report include credible reports of arbitrary or unlawful killings, torture or cruel, inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment, arbitrary arrest or detention, serious restrictions on freedom of expression and media freedom, including violence or threats of violence against journalists and censorship. The U.S. Department 2024 report also indicated trafficking in persons and systematic restrictions on workers' freedom of association, said in an executive summary of the report. In the Human Rights Report, the U.S. Department also recorded that Liberian government officials occasionally harassed newspaper and radio station owners as well as individual journalists due to their political opinion and reporting. The report compiled by the Bureau of Democracy and Human Rights, the label outlines credible accounts of arbitrary or unlawful killings, torture or cruel, inhumane, and degrading treatment or punishment, arbitrary arrest or detention, serious restrictions on freedom of expression and media freedom, trafficking in persons, and systematic restrictions on workers' freedom of association. At the same time, the report noted that on the 1 year, serious incidents occurred in April at the Fishtown Central Prison where an inmate died in custody, adding that in May, the Bureau of Rehabilitation and Corrections charged 6 officers in connection with his death. At the same time, the report highlighted that in August, the Monrovia City Corporation dismissed 9 employees accused of using social media to criticize government officials and the president, pointing out that the press freedom groups warned that such actions risk fostering a climate of fear in public discourse. It added that the Press Association told U.S. monitors that journalists and media owners were sometimes harassed over their reporting, particularly in June 26, 2025, the Association of Liberia Community Radios demanded the reinstatement of Radio Kakada station manager Jerry Kwe, suspended by Magibie County former Superintendent Victoria Duncan. The report named tensions also raised on July 20th when a meeting between Presidential Press Secretary Kulat Fofana and media executives ended abruptly on new accreditation requirements for executive mansion reporters, including police clearances and institutional tax certificates, triggered a walkout by several editors. The report highlighted continual shortcomings in occasional safety enforcement, referencing the March 27 of mudslide and an artisanal gold mining site near Shio Town, Riverside County, killed 10 people after illegal miner rushed to the area following a gold discovery. The U.S. review found out violations of Liberia's constitutional protections against arbitrary detention, including police arrests without warrants. The report said, noting that detainees were not always brought before a court within the mandated 48 hours. The State Department recorded no cases of enforced disappearances of government order standardization during the year, though a 2023 Ministry of Health duty or study confirmed that induced abortions had occurred in previous years. The 6th Judicial Circuit Court of Montserrat County has ordered the immediate eviction of the Congress for Democratic Change from its party headquarters in Congo Town. The CDC eviction order was issued Wednesday by Judge Smith following what is described as a prolonged legal battle that have ensued between the party and the owners of the property hosting its headquarters. Judge Smith on August 4th delivered the final verdict, which ruled in favor of the Bernard family. The former ruling party eviction order followed the issuance of a writ of possession on August 13, officially declaring the Bernards as the legitimate owners of the property. Judge Smith, in a formal communication to Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman, requested that the enforcement of the court's ruling, calling on police IG to ensure that armed police officers supported by court sheriff carry out a peaceful and lawful eviction process. Following the eviction order, several permanent members of the CDC, including former House Speaker Councillor Fona Tikofa, has taken onto their Facebook pages, reminding the public that the CDC is not the building, but rather in the hearts and minds of the people. These comments indicate that many stewards of the party believe that political strength and influence of the party is not tied to the headquarters. The former President George Weah has vowed to resolve CDC headquarters issue by building the party its own national headquarters. The CDC political leader declaration was made Wednesday following the 6th Judicial Circuit Court of Montserrat County eviction order of the former ruling party. We had in a statement called on authorities of the CDC to focus on solving the party headquarters issue and encourage citizens to be focused and don't allow misinformation of words to make them angry. He added, there is a need that supporters of the party agree together and demonstrate to Liberians that the CDC belongs to them. Former President Weah emphasized that no matter what, CDC will continue to fight together to the end, stating that the party remain mighty, loyal, and faithful to the people's struggle. The Liberian National Police has formally charged and forwarded to court a 67-year-old church mother named Claudette Paul for allegedly physical and verbal assault on a uniformed police officer on active duty. Addressing a press conference Wednesday, Deputy Commissioner of Police Cecilia Clark said Madam Paul faces charges of simple assault in violation of Chapter 14 Criminal Mischief under Section 15.5 and disorderly conduct in accordance with Section 17.3 of the Penal Code of Liberia. Deputy Commissioner Clark disclosed that on Tuesday, August 12, the 67-year-old woman alleged assault on police officer took place at the intersection of 12th Street, Cinco. Clalepo, also identified as a classroom teacher, reportedly approached patrolman Colliers Lamin in the hostile and disrupted minor while he was regulating traffic. According to police spokesperson, video evidence show Paul striking police patrolman Lamin in the face, causing visible injury. She is also accused of damaging a government-issued police radio during the incident. Clark reaffirmed the Liberian National Police to accountability and the protection of all police officers. Maghiri County Senator and Chairman of the CDC Legislative Caucus, Nathaniel Mangiu, has expressed disagreement with the recent remarks made by the party's national chairman, Jangako, regarding the resignation of Montserrat County Senator Sir Joseph from the CDC. Speaking at the Center for the Exchange of Intellectual Opinion in Monrovia Tuesday, CDC Acting National Chairman Jangako said the resignation of Senator Sir Joseph serves as major political blow to the former ruling party. Ko highlighted the Montserrat County Senator contributions to the party and urged him to reconsider his decision and return to the party. However, phoning in on the Spoon Network Tuesday night, Senator Mangiot expressed a contrary view to the party chairman's assertions. He dismissed the chairman's claims that Senator Joseph's resignation would negatively affect the CDC, arguing that Joseph had not made any meaningful contributions to the party's growth or strength. Senator Mangiot further asserted that only former President George Weah's resignation will have a substantial impact on the party, not that of any other member, including Chairman Cool. Senator Mangiot also refuted recent statements made by Senator Joseph concerning former President Weah and his administration, terming them as false, misleading, and a deliberate attempt to tarnish the image of the CDC. The House of Representatives Committee on Gender, Child Development, and Social Protection Services has condemned what it termed a blatant violation of the nationwide suspension of all parade and Sunday bush activities. On March 25th of this year, the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Internal Affairs, issued a temporary ban on all parade and Sunday bush activities, including female genital mutilation, which began on April 30th and expected to end in January 2026. The House's Committee on Gender, Child Development, and Social Services assertion follows reported graduation of 502 girls from the Sunday Bush School in Coney and Lofa County on August 8. Speaking to reporters Wednesday, the House's chairperson on gender, Moiman Brice Mensah, said the committee has taken serious exception to the graduation of the 502 girls. Representative Brice Mensah added that the act is a flagrant disobedience to the suspension of parade and Sunday activities and further undermines both the authority of the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Liberia's international and domestic obligation to protect the rights, health, and dignity of women and girls. The committee, through its chairperson, noted that MIA's suspension of Paramount Chief James Tano and Clan Chief Big Boy Kokolo for failing to prevent this legal activity is inadequate in proportion to the gravity of the violation. The Independent National Commission on Human Rights has criticized the government of Liberia on its approach in combating drug trafficking, accusing the government of a systemic failure and that's existing systemic failures and collusion between drug traffickers and government officials. INCHR claims follows allegations made by Guy Fogba, Deputy Director General of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, who accused individuals from all three branches of government of being involved in illicit drug trade. Speaking with journalists Wednesday at the INCHR headquarters, the commission executive director, Councillor Dempster Brown, expressed deep concern over the growing influx of narcotics drugs into the country. He maintained that the government's failure to effectively enforce existing drug laws is endangering Liberia's future and putting the next generation at risk. Brown alleged that drug traffickers are directly linked to high-ranking government officials and members of the security sector, which he believes is hampering efforts to investigate, arrest, and prosecute those involved in the trade. The INCHR boss also criticized the Ministry of Justice and state security officers for repeated mishandling of drug-related cases, stating that such lapses undermine the nation's fight against drug cartels. Meanwhile, 4 men on Wednesday were reported to have died from what is believed to be a new deadly substance in Liberia. Among the 4 men, a Achid Kopu, who is believed to be in his 20s. The eastern death of 4 men in the Gassat community in Sokline add to dozen others drug abuse related deaths between 2024 and 2025 amongst or that's amidst mounting calls against drug and substance abuse across Liberia. The video footage on social media shows the lifeless bodies of the deceased with their parents mourning in frustration, sharing tears about the proliferation of the intake of illegal drugs in Liberia, and the situation has sparked sorrows and fear among many families. On Tuesday, August 7, 2025, several Liberians gathered at the Capitol building to petition the government to reinforce the fight against illegal drugs, but illegal abuse and trafficking remain on the increase. Members of the Student Unification Party have raised red flag against what they term as filthiness of the state-run university. SUP, through its propaganda chair Emmanuel Polit, called on UL students, lecturers, and other citizens to join them in protesting against the Bwaka-led government alleged neglect of the university. Polit, during a guided media tour at the Capitol Hill campus of the University of Liberia, accused government of abandoning something he said has resulted to poor learning and unhygienic environment. The SUP propaganda chairman highlighted major challenges facing the university, including lack of sanitation, inadequate seating facilities, and poor infrastructure. According to him, students are facing difficulties in learning due to unsafe, unconducive environment, adding that the student group is prepared to call on the government to take action through a protest on August 18. The Governance Commission, in collaboration with the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Finance and Development Planning, has ended a 2-day policy dialogue aimed at strengthening the coordination with the Monrovia City Corporation and mobilizing resources with the adoption of a number of recommendations. Speaking at the program marking the end of the policy dialogue, GC Acting Chairman Professor Alaric Tukwa said the participants, among other things, stressed the need for the authority to demarcate Monrovia and statutory mandates. According to Professor Tukba, the participants also agreed that there is a need to review the mandates of institutions which have similar mandate of those of the Monrovia City Corporation. The participant resolved that the need for the political and administrative reorganization of the Monrovia City to meet international best practices and other cities around the region. And the administration of the University of Liberia has strongly condemned a reported act of armed robbery carried out by one of its employees, Phobit Emery Johnson, who served as administrative assistant in the College of Health Sciences. In a release issued Wednesday, the State-run University administration announced Johnson's suspension with immediate effect without pay and benefits, pending the outcome of the criminal proceedings. The administration has expressed deep concern, adding that Phobit Emery Johnson's alleged conduct violates the university's zero tolerance policy against all forms of human violence against persons. UA administration also frowned on the action of Johnson and considers it as a gross violation and affront to the values and policies expected of its employees. However, UA administration cautioned all faculty, staff, and students to guard against any form of unlawful acts that could cause violent harm to others and jeopardize the image of the university and bring it to public ridicule. What if you just joining us? A reminder you're listening to King's News Broom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Thursday, August 14, 2025, and I'm Newton Tukwa presenting stories following this morning. U.S. Department of State's 2024 Human Rights Report on Liberia indicates mysterious killings, torture, arbitrary detention, serious restriction of freedom of expression and media freedom, points out the government officials' occasional harassment of journalists due to political opinion and reporting. Says Judicial Circuit Court of Montserrat, the county orders eviction of CDC from Congo Town headquarters as former President George Weah vows to construct national headquarters for the party calls on all supporters to remain united. Liberia National Police charges and forwards to quote 67-year-old church mother Claudette Port for physical and verbal assault of a uniformed police officer. And away from Liberia, French President Emmanuel Macron has acknowledged the violence committed by his country's forces in Cameroon during and after the Central African nation's struggle for independence. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has indicated that Gaza ceasefire efforts are now focused on a comprehensive deal to a release of all the remaining hostages at once. These are stories to follow here. We'll take another break. When we come back, we'll bring you the voices of the newsmakers. On this one, the Liberian National Police have formally charged and forwarded to court a 67-year-old church mother named Claudette Paul for alleged physical and verbal assault on a uniformed police officer on active duty. Addressing a press conference Wednesday, Deputy Commissioner of Police Cecilia Clark said Madam Paul faces charges of simple assault in violation of Chapter 14, criminal mischief under Section 15.5, and disorderly conduct in accordance with Section 17.3 of the Penal Code of Liberia. Deputy Commissioner Clark disclosed that on Tuesday, August 12th, the 67-year-old woman alleged assault on officer took place at the intersection of 12th Street, Cinco, Monrovia.
2025, a troubling incident occurred at the intersection of 12th Street, Cinco, involving a 67-year-old classroom teacher identified as Claudette A. Paul. While patrolman Kulos and Labi was actively regulating and diverting traffic in service to nation, Mrs. Paul approached him in a visibly hostile and disruptive manner. Despite the officer's efforts to maintain order, Mrs. Paul verbally attacked him using profanities and inflammatory language directed not only at patrolman Lamy, but also at other officers assigned to the post. Her behavior quickly escalated into physical aggression, as captured on video footage that is being presented here during this press briefing. Mrs. Paul is seen assaulting patrolman Lamy while he was on duty, causing visible injury to his face and creating a scene of public disorder. In the course of her actions, she also damaged a government-issued police communication radio, further compounding the offense. Her conduct was reckless, disrespectful, and in direct violation of the laws of the Republic.
Police spokesperson Cecilia Clark there speaking. Mangibi County Senator and Chairman of the CDC Legislative Caucus, Nathaniel Mangibi, has expressed disagreement with recent remarks made by the party's national chairman, Jangat Koor, regarding the resignation of Montserrat County Senator Sir Joseph from the CDC. Speaking at the Center for the Exchange of Intellectual Opinion in Monrovia Tuesday, CDC Acting National Chairman Jangat Koor said the resignation of Senator Sir Joseph serves as major political blow to the former ruling party. Koor highlighted that the Montserrat County Senator contribution to the party and urged him to reconsider his decision and return to the party.
I would be insincere if I tell you that the departure of Sir Joseph means nothing to the CDC. No, Sir Joseph is our investment. Sir Joseph is a making of the CDC. That's why when he said, "First the CDC," that's why citizens are hurt. We invested in Sir Joseph from 2011 all the way to 2023. So Sir Joseph is our investment. Anybody who tells you that Sir Joseph departure means nothing, I'm supposed to be lying to you. As chairman of the CDC, losing Sir Joseph is a major blow to the CDC, is a major issue to the CDC. And we hope Sir Joseph will come to his senses and come back home. Before Geraldine Doe Sherry left, the CDC still won in 2017. You know, Horatio who left when he formed ANC. CDC still won. So the departure of these people is a testament, it's a wake-up call to the CDC that you got to organize more. But anybody who tell you that one of your members leaving means nothing, no. You're being deceptive and you're being illusional if you say so. So we recognize the fact that Sir Joseph's departure is something bad for the CDC. We call him to, in the near future, rethink and come back. For whether that can stop the CDC from coming to power, no, because history have shown that leaving the CDC will not stop the CDC. So CDC is on the road to victory in 2029. Nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop it. We can assure you of that. So all those who are having doubt, do not have doubt. Stay with the CDC. The CDC is going through challenging times because when you lose power, that's what happens. All of the things that you had before, you will not have it. We call on you to be steadfast. We are moving from county to county and gradually organizing. Be steadfast. The government is failing. You said I should create two economies. If I create it, you will say I'm being subjective. Because evidently, businesses are closing. Check all the corridors. So take the.
However, phoning in on the Spoon Network Tuesday night, Senator Mangiota expressed a contrary view to the party chairman's assertion. He dismissed the chairman's claims that Senator Joseph's resignation would negatively affect the CDC, arguing that Joseph had not made any meaningful contributions to the party's growth or strength. Senator Mangiota further asserted that only former President George Weah's resignation will have a substantial impact on the party, not that of any other member, including Chairman Koor.
I was very disappointed when I listened to Sir Joseph making all the regular comments. I knew Sir Joseph 2011. Sir Joseph was no one when he entered CDC. President Weah made him, party made him. To assume that he is so popular that the Senate bar is laughable. We've been following politics, so to say Sir Joseph leaving is a significant blow. I disagree because this is very anyone individual, except in the context of the former prayer, like I said. That the only man who can lead CDC right now, he can cause trouble when he leads CDC. Yeah, you see, it's a significant blow to CDC, not Sir Joseph. I think Sir Joseph should be making an apology to CDC because CDC made 99% or let me just say 95% of Sir Joseph's support. Because I may say maybe few of our people who voted for Joseph Boakai voted for him. But 95% of those who voted for Sir Joseph in most rally in 2023 as citizens, they don't vote for him because he is Sir Joseph. They voted for him because he is a CDC candidate. So I disagree with the party chairman in the context that he leaving a significant blow. People left the party before. 2011 when after the election was so the same thing happening. Mauricio Bull left before the ANC. You see, he defeated them. You saw the margin of CDC, you saw the margin of ANC. So I think what Sir Joseph needs to be doing, I think the last statement that I think the chairman really slipped. The last statement that the chairman said Sir Joseph should be apologizing to CDC, should be apologizing to Senator Broom for making it right to go out.
The voice of Mangibi County Senator Nathaniel Mangibi. Earlier, you heard the voice of the CDC Chairman Jangat Koor. What if you just joining us? With the time half past the hour, a reminder you're listening to King's Newsburn, the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Thursday, August 14, 2025. Stories we're following this morning. The U.S. Department of State 2024 Human Rights Report on Liberia indicates mysterious killings, torture, arbitrary detention, serious restriction of freedom of expression, and media freedom points out government officials' occasional harassment of journalists due to political opinion and reporting. Such judicial circuit Court of Montserrat County orders the eviction of CDC from Congo Town headquarters as former President George Weah vows to construct national headquarters for the party, calls on all supporters to remain united. Liberian National Police charges and forwards to court a 67-year-old church mother Gladiator for physical and verbal assault of a uniformed police officer. And away from Liberia, French President Emmanuel Macron has acknowledged the violence committed by his country's forces in Cameroon during and after the Central African nations struggled for independence. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has indicated that Gaza ceasefire efforts are now focused on the comprehensive deal to release all the remaining hostages at once. We'll take another break and come back. We continue with more forces. Welcome back. On this one, the House of Representatives Committee on Gender, Child Development, Social Services has condemned what it termed as blatant violation of a nationwide suspension of all parrot and sandy bush activities. On March 25th of this year, the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Internal Affairs, issued a temporary ban on all parrot and sandy bush activities, including female genital mutilation, which began on April 30th and expected to end in January 2026. The House's Committee on Gender, Child Development, and Social Services assertion follows reported graduation of 502 girls from the Sandy Bush School in Konian, Lofa County on August 8th. Speaking to reporters Wednesday, the House's chairperson on gender, Mohamed Brice Mensah, said the committee has taken serious exception to the graduation of the 502 girls. Representative Brice Mensah added that the act is a flagrant disobedience to the suspension of parrot and sandy activities and further undermines both the authority of the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Liberia's international domestic obligations to protect the rights, health, and dignity of women and girls.
Of the 502 girls from the Sunday Society. And I still say 502 girls. Why couldn't it be 502 boys? And my disappointment is there was a ministerial order from the Minister of Internal Affairs stopping every aspect of traditional activities of Sunday and Poro. And we saw people moving around, inspectors.